And hello everybody, welcome to the third in a series of live stream playthroughs where I'm going to be playing through Marvel Champions. My name is Paul Grogan, my channel is Gaming Rules as you probably know, and today we're going to be playing Iron Man, and we have two aspects left. So basically there are 5 champions with this game. Today we're doing the third one, which is Iron Man. There are 4 different aspects and any aspect can go with any character. So we did Spider-Man first with Justice, then we did, what did we do next? We did Captain Marvel with leadership. We're now doing Iron Man with aggression, which means the next one, which will probably be Tuesday, is going to be Black Panther with protection. And then on Thursday, I'm going to do She-Hulk. And again, I'll do a vote on which one we're using. If you are watching this live in the chat, I'm going to switch over to the top-down view now. Please let me know if it is all working fine. And guess what? The chat isn't working again. I've had this so many times recently, and it's not something that I can check beforehand, which is really disappointing. So, yeah, I think it's working fine in the chat, but it's not working fine on here. So let's just set this going yet again. Apologies for this, but the last 3 ones I've done, it hasn't done the authorization, and I don't know why, because I tell it to authorize, and it says it's kept it, but then it doesn't seem to. Yeah, it's lost the authorization. So apologies for this. I'm just going to have to put in the authorization yet again. I need to contact XSplit about this because it used to remember it and now it's not. It's basically making me sign in every single time I use it, which you shouldn't need to do. Is that going to work? Yep, and I authorize it, and I say yes, and then it just forgets it again. So there we go. We are here. Yes, I've been out today. I've been out to the Columpton Food Festival, only for a bit. Vicky's been there most of the day. Learnt how to make, what did we learn how to make? Ravioli, that was it. But it's something that Vicky already makes anyway. Right, yeah, so yeah, assuming that you can hear me and see me okay, then we're gonna get started. So we have Tony Stark now. Scott, who's been watching all of these, has said to me, I need to play the Iron Man deck myself first before doing the live stream. So I did, and I can see why, because it does play slightly differently than the other ones. We are going to be playing against Rhino level 1 again. I know some people wanted me to play against a different villain, but I kind of wanted to play each of the starting heroes against the same villain. So I know it's a little bit repetitive, but what I'm going to do next week is when I do the She-Hulk one, we're going to actually take on the Claw. So I'm going to it's going to be a more difficult one, but I'm going to change the villain for the final stream in the series. Brendan saying it looks and sounds good. Thank you very much. I'm going with the rough and ready look today because I just got back about 15 minutes ago. Right, so let's have a look at what Tony Stark does. As an action, I can look at the top 3 cards of my deck, add one to my hand and discard the others. Now, that might sound good, but in this game, when your deck runs out, for those of you that have seen the previous streams, you'll know that something bad happens. So, let's deal our starting hand of 6, and he's only got 9 health, 9 hit points. Tony Stark, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And today, I mentioned that you can play with any one of the 4 aspects. The game comes with 5 modular encounter sets, and today we're playing with the Legions of Hydra. I don't know why I'm shuffling these. This is my hand of cards. So they are my starting 6 cards, and if I wanted to, I could get rid of some of these and discard them. Let's have a look, because I don't really need the first aid right now. The Rocket Boots is quite nice. The Repulsor Blast is quite nice. And the Supersonic Punch is quite nice, but only if I've got the aerial trait, which I could have if I play that and then that. So let's do this. Let's keep these. I could voluntarily do a selective mulligan at the start, but I think I'm probably okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep these for now. Right, so this is the villain encounter deck with all of those gribblies in, and I think we're ready to go. Now, for those people who haven't watched my Captain Marvel stream, you need to watch it because my first turn as Captain Marvel was pretty astonishing. I had this awesome first turn where I basically got Rhino down to 0 health on my turn. It was incredible. So anyway, we're going to make a start, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to play some cards. Now, do I want to use Tony Stark's action? I think I do. So I'm going to look at the top 3 cards of my deck. I'm going to add one to my hand and discard the others. Right. Interesting. Okay. Now, Helicarrier is one of these neutral cards that I've never really played before because it's good when it comes out at the start of the game. And it hasn't really come out for me early. So for this particular game, just because I'm going to show you a variety of cards, I'm actually going to take the Helicarrier. And then I'm going to discard the other 2, which isn't great because, as I say, when your deck runs out, something bad happens. Now, you can't see my discard pile. It's slightly off screen. Let's bring that on a bit. There we go. So that is Tony Stark's ability used. Do I want to play any cards before I change into Iron Man? Because I'm going to do that because I have this Supersonic Punch, but it's only possible if I'm in hero form. So yes, there is something that I want to play, which is probably the Helicarrier. So I'm going to play the Helicarrier. And it's going to cost me 3 to play. So I'm going to use energy, which is 2 resources. And then I'm going to play Repulsor Blast. I think. Yeah, I'm going to play Repulsor Blast. So that's the 3. That's the Helicarrier in play. Now, the ability of the Helicarrier is I can exhaust it, choose a player, which will be me, reduce the resource cost of the next card that the player plays this phase by 1. So that's what I'm going to do. I am going to exhaust the Helicarrier to play Rocket Boots, which normally cost 1. But I play it for free because the Helicharacter dropped it on my head. So I get 1 extra hit point. Now here's a question that I've not looked up. I don't know if I record that hit point on here. I think I do. So I'm going to do that. Apologies if this is wrong, but I'm actually going to add the hit point onto there. Right, and I can exhaust the Rocket Boots and spend a mental resource. Is it mental? I think it is. To gain the aerial trait. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because of the Supersonic Punch is much better if I'm flying. Think about it thematically. If I just punch somebody, it will do 4 damage. But if I'm flying and I punch somebody, it does 8 damage. Now we're going to switch forms. So Tony Stark is going to change into Iron Man. And since we are now in hero form, I can now do the Supersonic Punch. I'm going to use the Power of Aggression, which counts as 2 resources for a red card, which Supersonic Punch is. And I deal 8 damage because I have the aerial trait, because I'm actually going to exhaust Rocket Boots, spend that, so I'm aerial. So yeah, I've basically used my intellect, flown around a bit, and smashed for 8 damage. I think that's right. Just let me know in the chat, because obviously my chat windows might be frozen. So yeah, just keep sending messages, just to let me know that you're still there. There we go. That is not a bad first turn, I think. We've got the Helicarrier in play. That's going to make things easier. We've got the Rocket Boots, which is going to be good. And we've dealt 8 damage to Rhino. So I think that deserves a drink of water. There we go. Right. So, end of my turn. Well, after all players have taken a turn, I draw up to my hand size. Now, Iron Man is different. He has a base hand size of 1, which is terrible. But that hand size increases for each piece of tech upgrade that I have. So because I've got Rocket Boots... Oh, no, hang on a minute. I haven't done Iron Man. Yeah, Iron Man is going to do something as well. Iron Man is going to attack, so that's another 1 damage. There you go. Right. So now everything ready, and my hand size is actually 2, which isn't great. So 1, 2. So I've drawn... Ooh. Yeah, okay. So this is very interesting. This, normally, the characters don't have... they have like a hand size of 5 or 6. So having a hand size of 2 means... I can't really play much next turn. I can't even play these. Even with the Helicarrier. Interesting. Right, so it's now Rhino's turn. So at the start of the villain phase, we're going to put 1 threat on the main scheme. And for those people who haven't watched any of the previous ones, if this ever gets up to 7, I lose in a solo game. It would be 14 in a 2-player game and 21 in a 3-player game. And then what we do is, because I am in hero form, Rhino is going to attack me. Rhino does 2 damage, but we are going to draw a boost card. I choose whether I want to defend or not, and I don't. So we draw a boost card. There's no little boost symbols on it, so it is just 2 damage. So Iron Man gets hit and is down to 8. There you go. And then all players draw an encounter card and reveal it. What's this? Hard to keep down. Right, Rhino heals 4 damage, and if no damage was healed this way, the card gains surge. Okay, well, Rhino has been hit, so he heals 4 damage and goes back up to 9. That is the end of the villain phase. Now it's my turn, but I've only got 2 cards in hand. And this is the problem. I can't play either of these cards. Even if I use the Helicarrier to reduce one of them, yeah, I can't actually do anything. This is interesting. So I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to use Iron Man to attack. He's only got one attack. But, you know, he's just a guy in a suit punching. So he does 1 damage. But then what we're going to do is we're going to change form from Iron Man into Tony Stark. And the ability there can still be used. So I'm going to look at the top 3 cards of my deck. Attack Team, Repulsor Blast and Mockingbird. Choose 1 to keep. Discard the other 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to choose... I mean, it doesn't matter which one I'm going to keep because I'm going to use it basically to pay for the Mark V armor. So yeah, we'll keep that one. Discard those 2. Then I'm going to use Helicarrier to give me a discount of 1 on the next card I play. And the next card I play is going to be the Mark V armor, which costs 3, normally 3, down to 2 because of the Helicarrier. So I'm going to discard these 2 cards. Do the hit point counters come with the game? Yes, if you mean these, yeah, this is what's with the game. The only thing you do not get that you see here is the sleeves, which are Fantasy Flight game sleeves. But everything else comes with the game. And there's a whole load more. This box is full of cards and lots of extra counters which are off camera. So yes, yeah, these do come with the game. And they're actually really good. Because sometimes you get cheap ones and they're a bit too slippy. These are perfect. They're really good. And they came pre-made because I got an X-demo copy. They probably don't come pre-made. Is that my go done? I think it is. I've used that ability. So we untap our cards. And then I draw back up to my hand size, which is now 6 because I am as Tony Stark. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right. There we go. Nice cards in my hand. It is now the villain's turn. 1 threat goes on the main scheme, but now the villain attacks me. But because I'm in alter ego form, Rhino doesn't actually physically attack me. He schemes instead. So his base scheme is 1. We draw a boost card. There is 1 boost icon on it. So 2 threat goes on the scheme. So there we go. We've already got 4 threat on there, which is dangerously close. Well, I say it's dangerously close. Yeah, the turn of another card could cause me to lose the game. Now we draw an encounter card for each player. Oh, it's the Legions of Hydra. So I've not played this one before. Right. This is a side scheme. So I'm going to put the schemes up there. I think I'll put the health here. Side scheme. When revealed, if Madam Hydra is not in play, which she is not, search the encounter deck and discard pile for Madam Hydra and put her into play engaged with you. Then shuffle the encounter deck and place 2 additional threat here for each Hydra enemy in play. Right, so we need to look for... So I mentioned at the start, we're using the Legions of Hydra modular encounter set. So this is a modification to this deck. It's 6 extra cards shuffled in, which basically make the game slightly different if you use different ones. Yeah, Oliver's saying the game can be over very quickly. It could. If I decide not to do anything about this threat, I could lose the game next turn. But I know that. So you don't leave it with only 3 threat away from losing the game. Because if he draws a card with 2 boost on it, then I've lost. So I know that and I need to do something about it. Right, so Madam Hydra has come into play. Now, she's tough. Cannot take damage while the Legions of Hydra side scheme is in play. This is the Legions of Hydra side scheme. So as long as this is in play, she can't take damage. After she schemes or attacks, place 2 threat on the Legions of... Oh, wow. Okay, this is tough. This is really tough. Right. So she's engaged with me. So there's normally 3 threat that goes on here. Where's the additional threat counters? I've not got enough out of the box. Let's get some more out of the box. Right. Yeah, a whole load of counters. Hopefully that'll be enough. And if you stick around at the end, I'm actually going to go through all of the aggression cards in here. So place 2 additional threat here for each Hydra enemy in play, which there is now 1. So there's 5 threat on here. So this side scheme here does 2 different things. First of all, it means I can't actually damage Madam Hydra while the Legions of Hydra is in play, which is thematic. I can't hurt her while the Legions are in play. But also, at the end of the villain phase, I'm now drawing 2 encounter cards a turn instead of 1. That's nasty. And we've got 4 threat on this. Wow. Okay. Well, that was quite tough, wasn't it? So I think it's now my go. So what are we going to do? We have new problems here. We have Madame Hydra, and if I stay in Tony Stark form, Madame Hydra is going to scheme herself. So she gets 2 plus a boost. Rhino gets 1 plus a boost. Is it 1 plus a boost? No, it's just 2. The star means it does something. Right, so when she schemes, she adds 2 threat to this one and 2 threat to that one as well. Wow. So yeah, and there's no way I can damage her because I've got to get rid of all of this threat. How do I get rid of threat? Oof. Yeah. Tony Stark's thwart is better than his attack. Let's have a look at what we've got. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use Tony Stark's ability. So look at the top 3 cards of my deck and keep 1. So we have a Mark 5 helmet. Oh, that could be quite good. Yeah, that could be quite good. That allows me to remove threat from multiple schemes. We have Relentless Assault, which is 5 damage to a minion. But that's no good because I can't actually deal damage to Madame Hydra, so we don't want that one. And the Powered Gauntlets is also quite good, but I think I'm going to keep the Mark 5 helmet. Right. So what are we going to do? If you can hear a buzzing noise, there is a fly in this room. It came in last night during the live stream of Alabari, and it's still here now. So yeah, apologies for that if you hear a buzzing noise. Wow. Let's use the helicarrier to bring into play the Mark 5 helmet. I'm going to need more space, aren't I? Yeah, right. Let's put my discard pile up there and Tony over there. There we go. Right, so I've now got Mark 5 helmet paid for by the helicarrier. That has a hero action. I'm not in hero form yet. So do I want to switch to hero form? I mean, I could use Tony Stark to recover 3 hit points before I switch to hero form. But I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to switch to Iron Man. I am Iron Man. Oh, such a cool ending to the film. Love the first film. Now, Iron Man himself has 2 thwart. That will get rid of 2 threat from either one of these 2. This is obviously the one that's going to cause the game to end for me. But this is the one that's stopping me hitting her. So I kind of want to get rid of both of them. Now, I do have the Mark 5 helmet. So let's remove 1 threat from a scheme, or from each scheme if you have the aerial trait. How do I get the aerial trait? I power up the rocket boots with another card. So let's play this mental resource here to power up the rocket boots. So I'm now flying, or I now have the aerial trait. I then use the Mark 5 helmet to remove 1 threat from here and here. Okay, which all makes thematic sense. If you think about it, is I'm flying around so I can go lots of places faster, and I've got Mark 5 helmet, so I've got all the intelligence, and I'm basically thwarting the schemes. So there we go. Lone Jedi's here. Hello. Who else is here? Can I scroll up in here? Oh yes, Lone Jedi's here. Yeah, there we go. See, this the scroll wasn't working yesterday in there, but it is today. How odd. Right. So what are we going to do next? So we've removed a bit of threat from the schemes. That's good. Is there anything else I can do? Chase them down is only good if I defeat an enemy. That deals damage to enemies, which I can't do. I have Pepper Potts, which, well, that's useless, and that's useless. So actually, yeah, let's do it. Let's play Pepper Potts. So I'm going to use these 3 resources, which are really good cards, but they're no good to me right now, to play Pepper Potts. I'm running out of space. I'm going to put that up there, and that up there, and those up there. There we go. I'm just expanding upwards. Let's bring the helicarrier down here so that all my tech is at the top. Yeah, so tech, and that's going to go there because that is a persona. I have 1 card in hand still, which gives me 1 extra. So I could exhaust Pepper Potts to generate the resources of the top card in your discard pile. Oh, interesting. Right. So I could use her to generate 1 resource, but I don't need 1 resource. There's nothing I can do with it. Do I want to keep this? Because I could discard cards at the end of my turn if I wanted to. Not sure. Right, so Iron Man is going to thwart. He's got a thwart of 2. Now, where do I want to remove the 2 from? Oh, gosh, this is just going to ramp up. I'm going to remove it from here, just in case. Just in case something goes crazy wrong. So, yeah. That's what we're going to do. I had a good start, and I beat him up, and then all of a sudden it all went crazy, and Madam Hydra turned up. This is making me having to rethink what I do. So, that is the end of my go. All of my cards ready, and my hand size is now 1, 2, 3, 4. Because I have 3 techs in play. If I wanted to, I could discard this first. And actually, I think I'm going to. So I'm going to discard that card so that I get 4 new cards. Stark Tower, Strength, Nick Fury. He's going to come in handy. And Emergency. Aha! This is going to help. This could be an absolute lifesaver. Right, over to the villain's turn. 1 threat goes on the main scheme. Then the villain attacks. Yeah, thankfully the villain is actually attacking and not scheming. Because if he was scheming and Madam Hydra schemed, I'd be in trouble. So he's attacking me for 2. Do I want to defend? I'm going to say no. Oh, I've got the Mark 5 armor. I forgot to give me an extra 6 hit points. Apologies for that. There you go. So I've got loads of hit points. So Rhino attacks me for 2 plus the boost card of another 2. Ouch. I'm looking for the boost icons in the bottom right of the card. I don't know if you can see them on camera, but there's 2 there. So I take 4 damage from Rhino. And then Madam Hydra attacks me. And she has an attack of 2. Minions don't draw boost cards. So that is just 2 damage. But she has a special ability that whenever she deals damage, 2 threat goes on here. So there's now 6 threat on this. Wow. Thirsty work, this. So, now it is the drawing of encounter cards, and because of this, I actually get 2 cards dealt to me, which is bad. Derek is here. How many heroes are in the base game? There are 5 heroes in the base game. I am doing a series of 5 videos, 1 for each of the heroes. So I did Spider-Man first, if you want to go and watch that. Then I did Captain Marvel. That's online. I'm doing Iron Man today. I'll be doing Black Panther on Tuesday and She-Hulk on Thursday. And that's the 5 included with the core set. Captain America is the next one that's coming out. And then I believe Thor. Anyway, first encounter card is Assault. When revealed, if you are in hero form, I should have untapped that, shouldn't I? Did I untap all of my cards? Did I do something with Iron Man? I think I did. Yeah, I think I did. Let me know. Can you remember, did I do something with Iron Man on my last turn? I can't remember if I did or not. I'm hoping I did. So anyway, Assault comes out. When revealed, the villain attacks you. Okay, so the villain attacks me. Again, it's 2. I could defend if I wanted to. I'm not going to. No boost, so just 2 damage. Down to 6. Good job for that Mark 5 armor. I would be dead by now. And my second card is Advance. When revealed, the villain schemes. So he schemes at 1 plus a boost card. The boost card is 1, so that's 2 more threat goes on here. See what I mean about it? Can sometimes spiral a little bit out of control. So there we go. Oliver can't remember. I did. So Matt is saying that I did use him to thwart. Thank you very much. It's just I left it tapped, and I probably shouldn't have done. Right, that is it for Rhino's turn. We're still in a bit of trouble here. We are in a bit of bother, I think. I'm quite low on health. I will probably lose the game next turn if I stay in Tony Stark form, because both of these are going to scheme. Now, I do have Nick Fury. And I think Nick is going to be needed. Yeah, I think Nick is totally going to be needed. Oh, I could have played this emergency to put so that 1 threat less goes on here. But I want to keep it because I want to play Nick Fury. Okay, my turn. I'm going to exhaust the Helicarrier to play Nick Fury for a cost of 3 instead of 4. I'm going to pay for that 3 with Strength, which generates 2 resources. Oh, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Oh, no. I've just seen a combo. I'm not going to use the Helicarrier. I'm going to play Nick Fury, which costs 4. I'm going to pay for it. I think you can do this. If you can't, I'll put some Klingon subtitles on screen now. But I think I need to pay for it with 4. I'm going to use this card to pay for it with 2. Then, because Pepper Potts has a resource ability, I'm going to exhaust Pepper Potts to generate the resources for the top card of my discard pile, which is another 2. I think that's good. I think that's how it works. So Nick Fury now comes into play. When he enters play, he can do one of 3 things. I can remove 2 threat from a scheme, draw 3 cards, or deal 4 damage to an enemy. But I can't deal damage to Madam Hydra. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove 2 threat from this scheme here. I need to get rid of this as soon as I can now. So I'm going to have a concerted effort to get rid of that. Right. Nick is in play. Nick will disappear at the end of the round. Not at the end of my turn, at the end of the round. I haven't used the Helicarrier. And I still have other cards to play. So I am going to use the mental resource of the Stark Tower to power up the rocket boots. So I am now aerial. I will then use the Mark V helmet to remove 1 threat from each scheme. Because I am in hero mode. Yep. So 1 threat goes from there, 1 threat goes from there. I am then going to use Iron Man to thwart. He has a thwart of 2 to get rid of that one. Just thinking, did I need to use that Mark V helmet? I didn't. So I'm just going to undo that. I'm not going to power up the rocket boots. So the Mark V helmet actually just removed 1 threat from 1 scheme instead. So there's still 1 threat on here. Because Nick Fury has a thwart of 2, and Nick Fury gets rid of that one. Now, Nick Fury takes consequential damage because of that, but he's going to disappear at the end of the round anyway. So that is the Legions of Hydra gone. Well, I say gone. Goes in the discard pile. Might come out again. But Madam Hydra can now be damaged. Yes. And I haven't used the Helicarrier yet. So, here's what we're going to do. I am going to exhaust the Helicarrier to play the Stark Tower. Normally it costs 2, but because of the Helicarrier it costs 1, and I'm going to use Emergency to pay for it. There we go. Now, do I want to switch to Alter Ego form? Because if I do, I can start activating that and that ability. The main decision point you need to make on which form you want to end your turn in is, if you are in hero form, the villain and the minions are going to actually physically attack you. And if your life goes to 0, you lose. If you are not in hero form, they will scheme. The problem is, both of them are bad for me. Although I do have Nick Fury. So Nick Fury can take one of the attacks. I'm going to have to stay in hero form. You can only switch form once per round. So although I would like right now to be in Alter Ego form, I can't switch back in the same round. So, I'm staying in Iron Man form. That is the end of my turn. I ready my cards and I draw up to my hand size, which is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now it is the villain's turn. So 1 threat goes on the main scheme. And then the villain, because I'm in hero form, attacks me. And I am going to choose to defend with Nick Fury, which basically means all of the damage is going to go on Nick. Sorry, Nick. So it doesn't really matter how much damage is dealt, but it's 4 damage. So that's Nick gone. There you go. Thank you. And then Madam Hydra attacks me. And that's just 2 damage. And also 2 threat goes on the Legions of Hydra scheme if it is in play, which it's not. So, yeah, I've got rid of all of the Legions. She's now on her own. And I can now beat her up. Right, that's them attacked. Now it's an encounter card, back down to just 1 encounter card now. And it's advanced the villain schemes. Oh dear. So 1. +1. If that was a +3, I would have lost. So 2 threat goes on the main scheme. So now we're in trouble. We're in big trouble now because that is 6 threat. Yeah, but it's fine. I've got cards. I can do something about it. I had an African curry for lunch at this food festival, and it must have been quite salty because I'm very, very thirsty. Right, my go. What we're going to do? We need to thwart that scheme, don't we? Is there anything I can do to boost my thwart? No. I mean, I've got Chase Them Down, which is good. If I manage to defeat this, I can remove 2 threat from the scheme. But there's no way I'm going to defeat that this turn. Is there? I don't think there is. I mean, I have the Powered Gauntlets. No. Okay. I mean, yeah, my main objective is just I've got to get this threat down here. So I'm going to use the Mark 5 helmet, which is just exhaust Mark 5 helmet, remove 1 threat from the scheme. Yeah, I mean, this is really good, this card. And you might think, well, the card's really good, so why wouldn't you include it in all decks? Well, the deck construction rules of this game is if you're playing Iron Man, you have to have the 15 Iron Man cards in your deck. That's it. You can add other ones in, but you have to have those 15 cards in there. So they are absolutely staple cards for this character. Iron Man is then going to thwart himself for another 2. There you go. That's got that a little bit more under control. Thwarted your schemes, Mr. Rhino. Well, I am going to use the helicarrier to play Tigra. So it's 2 less. Sorry, it's 1 less because of the helicarrier, so it costs 2. But I'm going to exhaust Pepper Potts to use that as a resource. So it actually only cost me 1. Wow, things can get really cheap. Let's use that one. Right, so Tigra comes into play. She's not very good at thwart, but she does have an attack of 2. So I'm going to get her to hit probably Madam Hydra. So 2 damage on Madam Hydra and 1 consequential damage on Tigra. Consequential damage is basically the number of times you can use the character, effectively. And after she attacks and defeats a minion, she heals 1 damage, but she's not defeated her. Right, now, do I want to stay in Iron Man form? No, Okay, this is tricky. If I stay in Iron Man form, these 2 are going to attack me. And that's probably going to kill me. But if I switch over to Tony Stark form, they're going to scheme. And scheme might cause me to lose the game. Wow, this is tough. This seems a lot harder. Maybe just the order in which these cards came out. Derek is saying, do all 5 heroes have a regular hero form mechanic? Yes, all of them. So that is one of the core mechanisms of the game, is that every hero has alter ego and main character. And one of the core mechanisms is you can flip once per round. You can flip to who you want to be, which is quite cool. And there are different, there's advantages and disadvantages. And what I really like is that you can be in your alter ego form, do stuff on your turn, switch forms, and then do something else. It really feels like you're taking part in like a, part of a film. Oh, right. This is a decision point. Is there anything else I can do? I mean, I've got resources here that are not doing anything. Oh. If I was to switch forms, I would be able to use Tony Stark's ability and draw an extra card. Is that actually going to help me? Okay, if I stay in Iron Man form, I've only got 4 hit points. I'm going to get hit for 2, 4 plus a card. So I'd have to take some of them on Tigra. Right, let's work out the numbers. If I stayed in Iron Man form, I would have to take Tigra. Tigra would have to take the attack from Rhino, because otherwise I'd die. If I choose to go into Tony Stark form, there's going to be 1, 2, 3 on there, and if there's 1 boost card, I've lost. I think I'm going to have to stay in Iron Man form. Yep, I'm going to have to stay in Iron Man form. So at the end of my turn, we ready all of my cards, which means I couldn't use the Stark Tower. And I couldn't play that because I've already done that. Yeah, okay. So draw up to my hand size, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. I could choose to throw cards away, but actually I'm not going to. I'm going to keep... I'm certainly going to keep that one in hand because I think... No, actually, that's not going to help me, is it? No. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that one. And by getting rid of a card, I get to draw more. So I'm drawing 3 more cards. Nice. Yeah, okay. Well, I definitely needed that one. Uppercut. That's going to allow me to get rid of Madame Hydra. Okay, so here we go. I didn't kill Nick Fury, Matt. He's gone for a lie down. He'll be back. You can't kill Nick Fury. Right, villain phase. 1 threat on the main scheme. Okay, now, because I'm in hero form, Rhino is going to attack me, but Tigra is going to defend. Thank you very much, Tigra. And it's a good job I did, because that's 4 damage. Damage does not spill over unless it has an ability called Overkill. Right, and then Madame Hydra attacks me and does me 2 damage. Wow, I'm on 2 health. And then I draw an encounter card. So this could lose me the game. And this is... Enter Sandman. Sandman comes into play with the toughness ability. So the next time I deal him damage, he doesn't take any damage. And at least I'm not dead. I get to fight on another round. Right, my go. I can't take another hit, can I? I mean, especially now that Sandman has come into play. So I'm going to have to be getting rid of some of this threat and then switching forms. Although, look at the scheming on these. Wowzers. I should have kept that card that I threw away. Never mind. These things happen. Oh, gosh. I'm looking at all these cards and I'm thinking, well, let's exhaust the Mark V helmet first to remove 1 threat. That's an easy one. Right, I'm going to use the Helicarrier to reduce the cost of the next card I play by 1, and I'm going to exhaust Pepper Potts to give me the 1 resource from there. So I play 1 resource only to play Uppercut, which is 5 damage to an enemy. 5 damage to Madame Hydra. That means Madame Hydra is gone for now. Iron Man will then thwart to remove 2 threat from here. Look at this. And then Iron Man is going to switch forms because there's no way I can take an attack. So he's going to run away. And now that he's in Tony Stark form, I'm going to use his ability to look at the top 3 cards of my deck. Oh, Hulk, Haymaker and Tag Team. Tag Team's going to be good. But so is that, and so is that. Hulk can be very... there's a random element when you play Hulk. You discard cards from your deck and random things happen, which is very thematic. It's quite cool. I'm actually going to take Tag Team, discard these 2 cards. I'm going to use Stark Tower, so I return the topmost tech card from my discard pile to my hand. Assuming I have one. There you go. Okay. What else can I do? I could play the Tag Team. Yeah, let's do it. So I play these 3 cards as resources to play the Tag Team. Tag Team comes into play with 3 counters, but I'm going to use 1 straight away to deal 2 damage to Sandman, which gets rid of the toughness ability. Right, there you go. Pretty much everything spent. End of my turn. Hand size of 6. So I draw 6. I've only got 3. So what happens is I get dealt one of these cards. I don't reveal it just yet. And then we shuffle my deck. Mark's saying that's some very serious dehydration. Yes, yes. Very clever. Dehydration. Right, so I've drawn 3 cards, and I'm now drawing another 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. I ready my cards. And then it is the villain phase. So, the villain schemes and adds 1 threat to that. Sorry, he's not scheming. 1 threat goes on there. And then the villain does scheme because I'm in alter ego form. So it's 1 plus another 1. So 2 threat goes on there. And then the minion schemes and Sandman adds another 2. So bang, we thought we had it under control. Suddenly, it's back up to almost game over time. There is 6 threat on there. I lose the game next turn, or possibly even this turn. Excuse me. I now get dealt an encounter card, and that, with the encounter card that I had for my deck running out, means that I'm getting 2 encounter cards. If one of these adds 1 scheme to the main scheme, 1 threat to the main scheme, I lose. We have Gang Up. In alter ego form, this card gains Surge. We have a Hydra soldier, right, who is a guard. So I can't attack the villain while the Hydra soldier is in play. And when defeated, I get an encounter card. So that's quite nasty. And this one is Shocker. When revealed, deal 1 damage to each hero. Oh dear, look at this. I'm on 1 health. I'm 1 threat away from losing. And I've got 3 minions on me. And it is my go. Okay. Answers on a postcard of what I can do. I mean, I need to do everything. I literally need to get rid of the threat from the main scheme, otherwise I lose automatically. But if I stay in alter ego form, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, possibly 6 threats going to go back on there. If I stay in Iron Man form, then I die from all of that. So, yes. This is tricky now. This is really tricky. I'm doing maths in my head, just so you know what I'm doing. Because there are some things that I can do. I have a Supersonic Punch, which is 8 damage if I have the aerial trait. But I don't need the aerial trait because 4 damage is enough. 4 damage will let me get rid of one of those 2. I can also, if I play the arc reactor, I can use... Oh, I've got this. I've got the tacting for 2 damage. And then I can hit that for that. So I can actually get rid of these 2. Or even these 2. Yeah, I can get rid of those 2. But then I'd be in Iron Man form and I'd get hit. Oh, gosh. Right, here's what we're going to do. I don't know if this is the right thing to do or not, but I can't think about this too much more. I'm going to use Tony Stark's alter ego ability to heal 3 damage. All alter egos have an ability to recover. So he's gone for a lie down, gone to the massage parlour, got himself 3 health back. Oh, I'm going to get to use his ability as well. Yeah, I'll use his ability. This might be a lifesaver. It's Nick Fury. Is that going to help? Yes, it is. Because when he comes into play, he deals for... Yes. Right, I'm not even going to look at the other cards. He says, looking at the other cards. Right, so... I'm going to do the trick again. I'm going to play Genius. I'm going to play Nick Fury. I'm going to use these 2 resources to pay for it, and then exhaust Pepper Potts for the other 2 resources to pay Nick Fury. Nick Fury comes into play and deals 4 damage. Well, he can do various things. I'm going to get him to deal 4 damage. And he's going to deal 4 damage to Sandman. That's Sandman gone. Right. Then what is he going to do? He is going to then... let's just have a think about this, because that's actually changed all of my plans. I'm going to play the Power of Aggression to generate 2 resources for a red card and play the Arc Reactor. Then I'm going to switch forms to Iron Man. I stay exhausted, but then I'm going to exhaust the Arc Reactor to ready Iron Man. I'm going to use the Mark V helmet to remove a threat from this scheme here. Okay, now then. I've got the Supersonic Punch, which I think I'm what I'm going to do. So I'll use the Helicarrier to make the next card I play cheaper, use Avenger's Mansion to pay the 1 resource to play the Supersonic Punch, which is 4 damage to the Hydra soldier. So that's that gone. I get dealt an encounter card. Right. Then Nick Fury attacks for 2 on Sandman, dealing 2 damage to Sandman and 1 consequential damage to him. Then Iron Man attacks for 1, gets rid of Sandman. Not Sandman, sorry, Shocker. Gets rid of Shocker. Right, so that's all the enemies gone. Whew. Wow. And I've still got Tag Team. Let's use Tag Team. I'll deal 2 damage to Rhino. There you go. It's down to 6. This is very different from the Captain Marvel game, isn't it? I think I'm done. I'm going to keep that, so I get to ready all of my cards. Managed to pull things back. I'm going to draw my... I now have 4 tech items, so my hand size is 5. It's a bit better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these ready as well. Okay, so in the villain phase, 1 threat goes on the main scheme. Rhino attacks me, but I'm going to use Nick Fury to defend. And Nick takes 2 damage. So he's gone again, just for a lie down. And then I get dealt an encounter card. Now this is where it gets dangerous. Because I've got these 2 encounter cards and there is 6 threat on the main scheme. If I can get through this turn... Oh... Oh dear. Legions of Hydra. It's that one again. Is that another one? Is that the... Oh, there's 2 of those in the deck, is there? Oh no. Did I already get rid of one of them? I did. It's the same card. Oh wow. So it's going to be 5 threat on there. This is not good. Search the encounter deck and discard pile for Madam Hydra and put her into play. Well, I know where Madam Hydra is. She's in here. Okay. So I'm supposed to shuffle the encounter deck. Yeah, thank you, Oliver. All hail Hydra. We know whose side you're on. Second card. Oh, Shadow of the Past. So for those people who are not watching, every hero has a nemesis. And the nemesis cards are specific to the hero and they are set aside at the start of the game. And when a certain card comes out of the deck, which happens to be this one, Shadows of the Past, reveal your set-aside nemesis minion, which is Whiplash, and put it into play engaged with you. Also, reveal your nemesis' side scheme, which is Imminent Overload. Comes into play with 3 threat, plus 1 per player. Right, and then these cards, the remaining cards for Whiplash, get shuffled into the deck. Okay, so now we're in big trouble again. I had a very good turn last turn, but this is just insane now. Yeah, this has gone crazy. It is my turn. Wow. Yeah. I mean, the helmet can remove 1 threat from each scheme. But I'm not going to give up. I'm going to carry on, but I really don't think there's anything I can do. So I will use that to power up the rocket boots. So I'm now aerial until the end of the phase. I will then use the Mark V helmet to remove 1 threat from each scheme. Have I got another 3? I don't. Okay. Gosh. I mean, I can get rid of Whiplash just by doing the Supersonic Punch on him. Although it's 8 damage, it's overkill. I mean, I could do 8 damage to Rhino, but unfortunately I'm still at stage 1 of Rhino, and as soon as I've got rid of that, we go to stage 2 and it gets even tougher. Okay, well I've got this Repulsor Blast, which I've not played yet. So we're going to have to do this. So I'm going to use the Helicarrier to play Repulsor Blast, which can only be played in hero form. Deal 1 damage to an enemy and then discard the top 5 cards of my deck. For each energy resource discarded this way, deal an additional 2 damage. So we're going to use Repulsor Blast on Whiplash. So it's 1 damage, 5 cards. There you go. That's yeah, there you go. So that's, oh yeah, loads of damage. So that's 7 damage to Whiplash. Right, that's the Repulsor Blast done. I do have another Repulsor Blast in hand, but Madam Hydra cannot take damage because of this. And how am I going to get rid of 4? Oh, I can. I totally can. I'll use Iron Man to thwart, removing 2 threat from this scheme. Then I'm going to use the Arc Reactor to ready Iron Man. Then I'm going to use Iron Man again to thwart again. So that's the Legions of Hydra gone. Wow, this is epic. Right, so Madam Hydra is now basically wide open. So I'm going to use Pepper Pots to generate the resource on top of the deck. Then I'm going to use Hulk as the other resource, and I'm going to do Supersonic Punch to deal 8 damage to Madam Hydra, because I have the aerial trait. Okay. I think I've still lost. Yeah, I've still lost. I have totally lost. Because that's the end of my turn. And then what's going to happen is this has an acceleration icon on it, which means 2 threat gets added on instead of 1. And that 2 threat goes on there and loses me the game. That was really tough. So my first one, when I played Spider-Man, that seemed relatively easy. Captain Marvel, I had an amazing first round, but then it all went a bit wrong, but I pulled it back. This was just tough. This Legions of Hydra, I don't know if these 5 encounter sets are balanced. Maybe they're not. But there's nothing I've read that says that the Legions of Hydra one is really tough. Only use that if you want a challenge. The other ones seemed easier. And yeah, wow, overwhelmed. I mean, that was really good. That was really tough. And you could see that I was definitely making, you know, proper decisions on how to play. So I'm going to switch over to the chat now quickly, because I'm quite exhausted. What does the chat say? Yeah, dodge 1 bullet by jumping into the path of another. In multiplayer, does everybody take a different hero, or does everybody share a single hero? So everybody plays their own character. You have your own hero, but a lot of the things in the game can affect other things. One of the things that I really like about this game is when you attack an enemy, you can attack any enemy anywhere. It's very much, whereas in something like Arkham Horror, you would have to generally engage the enemy, or you could attack them. No, you can still attack them, I think. But it really feels like you're taking part in a Marvel film. Like, oh, I'll attack you over there, and then you come over here, and things like that. It's all happening in one big scene. So you each play your own hero, but there's a lot of ways that the characters can interact with each other. Matty's saying it reminds you of a line from an old Western. Support your local sheriff. James Garner receives a badge with a dent from a bullet and says that must have saved the life of whoever was wearing it. Yes. The mayor responds, it would have been if it weren't for all of those other bullets flying in. Yeah, very good. So yeah, we failed today. Iron Man didn't manage to take on Rhino today, and this was the level 1 villain on the easiest set. So what I'm going to do now, if you're sticking around, is I'm just going to go through the protection cards, the aggression cards. So we chose to play today the Iron Man character with the red deck, which is the aggression cards, and we're just going to go through them. But before we do that, I just wanted to say a massive thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. This is not a sponsored video from Fantasy Flight or Asmodee. I am doing this purely through the support of my Patreon campaign. So if you enjoy the content that I make and you want to support me and help me make more content, then please consider supporting me over at patreon.com/gaming rules. And a special thank you to Julia Stanton today, whose name came up in my random Patreon support name generator. Thank you very much, Julia, for all of your support. Right, let's go on with these cards and see what we've got. So this isn't all the cards. There are a few more that you get in the game. but it's just extra copies of these. So you're actually going to see all of the cards now. I'm just saying that there are 3 copies of each, apart from the unique ones. Is that it? There we go. Aggression. Protecting. There we go. So we got 3 unique ones. And then these ones that you get 3 of each, except for the power of aggression that you get 2 of. So the power of aggression first. Every deck has one of these. It basically counts as a wild resource, but when you use it to play a red card or an aggression card, it counts as 2. So yeah, every deck's got one of those. What cards did we see? We saw Tag Team. Very simple. You put it into play. It's got 3 counters, and you can exhaust it, remove a counter to deal 2 damage to something. Really good, really useful. There's one in another colour deck. I think it's Justice that does something similar and removes threat. Combat Training I didn't actually play, but this is basically, it gives you 1 extra attack. And this is an interesting card because you can put it under anybody's control. Maximum of 1 per player. So again, I could play this, if we were playing 2-player, I could play this on you so that you have +1 attack. So you get cards that can boost other characters. Relentless Assault, Uppercut's very simple. Uppercut is just deal 5 damage to an enemy. We saw that. And Relentless Assault, I'll get to your question in a minute, Derek. 5 damage to a minion, but if you paid for it using the physical resource, it has overkill. So you can hit a minion, and any damage that goes over will actually damage the villain. Chase Them Down, which I should have kept. I discarded this at the wrong time, but you play it in response to defeating an enemy, and you can remove 2 threat from a scheme. So it kind of does both. Tigra we saw, though not for very long, because she came in and then protected me. Hulk is very, very cool. He's got 5 health, which means he can basically be activated 5 times before he disappears. But every time you use him, you draw a card from the top of your deck, and then random stuff happens, which could damage you, could damage everybody. It could just wander off. Yeah, again, very thematic. And Stark Tower we didn't really see that much of, but it's a way that Tony Stark can get tech cards back. And there we go. So Derek, villains. In the core set, there are 3 villains to choose from. We were playing today against Rhino, and we were playing the easy version of Rhino, where you basically have Rhino 1, and then once you've got rid of Rhino 1, you change to Rhino 2. Something happens and he's got more health. It's like 2 stages of a boss fight. But if you wanted to up the difficulty a bit more, you can play, instead of Rhino 1 and 2, you can play Rhino 2 and 3. So 2 starts in play, and then when you've got rid of 2, it goes to 3. So that makes it a lot harder. That's Rhino. There are other villains. There is Claw, and again, you can play Claw 1 and 2, or Claw 2 and 3 for a much more challenging game. And Claw's a longer game because it has a multi-stage scheme card where he's trying to do something. It's a bit like the agenda deck in Arkham Horror card game, is that against Rhino, 7 threat got on that scheme and it was game over. In the Claw scenario, once 6 threat goes on the first scheme, it flips over, does something, and then he advances to the next part of his scheme. So it's kind of like a little story thing. And then there is Ultron. And I haven't played against Ultron yet. But again, you've got Ultron 1 and 2, or you can then play Ultron 2 and 3. And the Ultron scenario is, I believe, a 3-stage scenario. Yes. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be doing another 2 streams next week. I'll be doing Black Panther on Tuesday, where I will take on Rhino again. And then on Thursday, we're going to be using She-Hulk, and we're going to be using She-Hulk against Claw. So yes, again, thank you very much for all of your support. Likes, comments, shares, any feedback you've got, please let me know. Other than that, I will say goodbye now. I will hopefully be back tomorrow at some point with a live stream of Tainted Grail, just the tutorial scenario from Tainted Grail. I'm hoping to do that tomorrow, but can't promise it. And yeah, 2 more streams of this next week, along with some other stuff. So yeah, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.
Gaming Rules is proudly sponsored by Game Toppers, upgrading your gaming experience. Visit GameToppersLLC.com.